Here we are at the Westport tide pools. The tide is coming in currently. We're seeing little rockweed and acorn barnacles on our rocks here, along with some green algae, some sea lettuce, more acorn barnacles. That's these guys right here. And then we have our mask limpets hanging out on our rocks here, and they go up and down with the tide to feed on algae and little scraps on the rocks. There's some more down in there. So these rocks are slippery, so I'm gonna head on down farther into our tide pool. Here we can see our leaf barnacles up under this rock, and it looks like there's even a California mussel there hanging out with them. And here we have some small blue mussels starting to grow on these rocks amongst our acorn barnacles and our nail brush seaweed here. So as we venture further down here, we're starting, as we get lower towards the water, we start seeing our aggregating anemones up in there. So if you see, our acorn barnacles have these shields inside of them, and when they dry out, they use those shields to keep their insides wet and alive during warm, sunny days. So here we're seeing some more California mussels right here. They're larger, they have thicker shells than our blue mussels, and they can withstand more intense waves. And then here we have some sort of snail on our rock here. Still have yet to figure out the species of that snail. So we're seeing more nail brush seaweed and more little rockweeds. Another little rockweed. We're coming up here on a purple shore crab. They feed on little bits of algae and other animals. She's really pretty. They're purple dots on their pincers indicate that they're a purple shore crab. They can range from being brown, green to purple. And these are very purple. There's one up under there. I don't know if you can see it. But there she goes. Here's our giant green sea anemone amongst some aggregating anemones. So our giant green sea anemone feeds by stinging its prey with those beautiful green tentacles, and then they bring it to the center, their gut in the center. And this one is very green, but it's sitting out in the open where there's lots of sunlight, and the tentacles in the gut have a symbiotic relationship with photosynthetic cells, and they trade nutrients. And so ones out in the sun are very bright green, because those photosynthetic cells are in action. Here's a bright orange ochre sea star. Get up in there thatched barnacles. Let's see if we can find a good example here. But they also feed on other barnacles and are acorn barnacles. And she ejects her stomach. On the bottom side of her is her stomach. She ejects her stomach and excretes enzymes into her prey, which could be a barnacle or a limpet or something like that. And those enzymes break down the organism, and then that becomes food for the sea star. So how they feed and move around with those tube feet. This rock is covered in aggregating anemones. Here's a larger purple shore crab hiding under a rock down there. She's got some barnacles growing on her right here. Striped shore crab. Specimen of Turkish towel seaweed. So this is good eats in stir fry or in soups. Here is our hairy hermit crab. We'll go see if we can see him underwater here. In our tide pools, we can often see sculpin, Tidepool Scuplin. Here we have a chitin under this rock, and there it may be a hairy chitin, but I'm not sure exactly the species. We also have some thatched barnacles here, so if I touch him, he'll suck his shield in. So some nice large thatched barnacles. We have some larger beds of our blue mussels that have the thinner shell, and then we have some larger California mussels back here amongst some leaf barnacles. And you can really tell the difference between the blue mussels that have the thin shell. They have kind of a smooth, small shell. And the larger California mussels, they have these ridges on their shell. And they're much bigger and they have a thicker shell as well. So lots of diversity in there. We got our leaf barnacles, our thatched barnacles, our snails, acorn barnacles. Lots going on right here. Some small rockweeds. And up here we have our nail brush seaweed right here in tufts along our rocks up there. Amongst a ton aggregating anemones, there is a purple ochre sea star down here. I don't know if you can see the tube feet on her underside, but There she is. She's got 2 feet on her underside that holds her onto rocks and helps her latch onto prey. So she may be feeding on some barnacles down there. There's some beautiful iridescent seaweed right here. It's really gorgeous, giving an iridescent blue-green. Tends to be red-brown in color. Here's a hairy mopalia, or a hairy chiton. They have a head, believe it or not, and those plate-like structures move with their body as they move up and down rocks. Sponge down here on this rock. So those little things that are sticking up are pores that they filter feed through. And there's some more. A sea slug. I'm going to venture down here and see if you can see them. There's also more sea sponge. And sea anemones. We're going to go on a tour of our seaweeds. So first, we have our green sea lettuce right here, and it's common in place with lots of nutrients. And we have our little rockweeds right here, and you can tell that they are because they have this really prominent midridge. And then they'll develop little floats on the tips that hold their spores for reproduction. We have our feathered boa seaweed right here. So it has a prominent strip down the middle, and then it has these little floats that when they pop, they also spread the spores of the feathered boa seaweed. It's one of my favorite seaweeds. It's so pretty. And here we have our iridescent seaweed. It has a really thick brown purple blade, sometimes light green. You can see more of it down shimmering in the water here. See if we can get an underwater picture of this. What's going on here? Lots of seaweed in amongst the seaweed. We have remnants of our native eel grass. This is Zostera marina. Here's a good example of our rockweed with the floats. So these are carrying the spores. You can see that they're thick, fat with spores, and these pop and they spread. Ochre sea stars under this rock. There are a lot of them under here.